Welcome to the Australian Leadership Project. Today we're delighted to be speaking to Arron, the Deputy Lord Mayor of Melbourne, the founder of Kids Teaching Kids. And we asked Arron, what is the future of Australian leadership?
Well, in the next generation of leaders, I'm seeing a generation that really wants to help, that has empathy for others, and in fact they've never been more connected than before. And what we've got to be careful of there is that they don't just become overwhelmed by all of the things that are happening in real time, the disasters or the humanitarian crises that are happening around the world. So that whole idea of thinking global and acting local and having an impact on your place is really important to things like self-esteem, confidence, a belief in a bright and compelling future, and all of these things are really important to building resilience in our young people. Probably less of a grand scale, but we had involved in our Kids Teaching Kids program, which is all about young people taking care of their own natural environment. We had a young girl in grade 6 who got selected as part of the program to travel from Mildura all the way over to Perth. And we were going to set off from Mildura Airport. We got to the airport and she'd already been there for 3 hours, and I asked her why she'd got there so early. And she said, well, my father's car is not a great car and it breaks down often. So I left enough time that I could get out of the car and actually walk the rest of the way to the airport. So there's a girl who was, struggling in her own life in terms of socioeconomic background, but just had this huge desire to help others. And I think that's a really beautiful thing in the next generation, that we've got to be really nurturing and make sure that we're looking after that optimism. And I think the word naivety is interesting because it's often used in a derogatory way, that person is naive. But when I have young people come into my office and say, I want to do this, I'm going to take all this rubbish out of my local waterway, that sense of naivety is actually a huge asset, that they believe anything's possible. So that's what we've got to be really careful to nurture in the next generation, but also give them that sense of reality that they don't have to solve every issue in the world, that just choosing something local is just as important.